This is going to be your complete no BS guide to setting up your welcome flow for your e-commerce brand. If you didn't already know, your welcome flow is literally the most important aspect of your email marketing, but something like 90% of brands completely get it wrong. The thing is, when you get it right, it should make up at least 5 to 10% of your brand's total revenue, not just email revenue, your total monthly revenue. Just like this brand here, Lux Decor, who we helped generate over $2 million in the last year with their welcome flow alone. So pull up a notepad, pull up Klaviyo, and get ready to make the perfect welcome flow, because in this video, I'm not going to hold anything back. Let's jump right into it. Your welcome flow is the #1 most important flow in your Klaviyo account, and it should account for at least 5 to 10% of your total brand's revenue on a month-to-month basis. Your welcome emails are going to be the first emails that your customers see when they sign up for your email marketing, so it's crucial that you make a great first impression. In these emails, we want to showcase to the customer everything that's important and that they should know about your brand. Take Nike, for example. If you knew nothing about Nike, what might they want to tell you to get you more familiar and to actually understand their brand? Well, they'd probably tell you their mission, that they serve athletes, their massive social proof with celebrity and athlete endorsements, all the different product categories that they sell, like running, performance wear, sportswear, and casual wear. Everything I just mentioned are the most important aspects of Nike's brand identity, and they should be what's shown in the welcome series, so someone new who's coming in knows exactly what's important for your brand. Most welcome series only convert 3% of new email signups into customers, while a well-optimized welcome series should convert at least 6 to 12% of new email signups into first-time customers. For example, this brand that we started working with previously did not even have a welcome flow. Now, their welcome flow generates at least $30,000 per month in new email revenue. That's an additional $350,000 a year in revenue with no extra ad spend. Or this brand that previously had not enough emails in their welcome flow. We added a couple emails to the end of the flow to capture excess demand, and now it generates them an extra 40 grand a month in welcome flow revenue. That's about $500,000 a year in revenue that was just left on the table. Now let's jump into the first strategy that will help you improve your welcome flow to make it convert at least 6 to 12% of new email signups into customers and lower your cost to acquire a customer while doing so. What if I told you the #1 way to improve your welcome flow wasn't by touching the emails at all? It is actually to do with your pop-up sign-up form on your website. This determines the number of people who are actually entering your welcome flow in the first place. Let me break this down with a real example. Two brands are getting 100,000 unique site visitors per month. Brand A has a typical pop-up conversion rate at around 3%, sending 3,000 people into their welcome flow every single month. Brand B has an optimized pop-up with a 9% conversion rate, sending 9,000 people through the welcome flow monthly. That's 3 times the amount of qualified traffic entering your welcome flow every single month, just with a good pop-up. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get an exact 3 times conversions with these extra signups, but even with diminishing returns, you'll still see so much extra revenue. I know this video is about the welcome series and not your pop-ups, so I'll give you the TLDR on the 5 most important things to improve your brand's pop-up today. #1, a percentage off discount. If your brand has a low AOV, like $50 or less, you want to go with a percentage discount instead of the dollar off discount. This is because saying 10% off does sound better than saying just a measly $5 off. On the other hand, let's say if your brand has a high AOV, let's say $250, then you might want to try a dollar off discount. As you can see, $25 off sounds a lot more substantial than just 10% off here. Step #2, you want to cut down the input fields on your pop-up. When you have too many input fields on your pop-up, people don't want to opt in as it seems like it's so much work. Versus if you break it up into 1 input field at a time, it's going to make it a lot more easy for people to voluntarily give their information. For example, take one of my current clients who we helped change their pop-up from this with 4 input fields to this with 1 simple input field. The conversion rate jumped from around 2.1% to around 23%, basically in a week with this pop-up. Just collect email first and then SMS with no option to enter your first name. Third, you want to fix the pop-up timing. A lot of pop-up platforms, including Klaviyo, will automatically set their pop-ups to show up immediately. While this might improve the number of signups you get, it's going to affect the bounce rate on your website. So instead, try to set your pop-up around 8 to 12 seconds, and you're going to see an optimal number of conversions while making sure you're not going to increase the bounce rate on your website. #4, you want to improve the visual hierarchy. A pop-up should look exactly like this. It should have your logo, a big bold headline with clear and concise copy, maybe a sentence underneath, the input fields, and then your button, and that's just about it. This is going to make it so easy for someone to clue in exactly what the offer is as soon as they see it, instead of a convoluted pop-up that looks something like this. #5, set up a micro commitment at the beginning of your pop-up. The first page of your pop-up should be a micro commitment that looks something like this, that simply asks the customer, hey, would you like 20% off? It's going to make it a no-brainer for the customer to actually say, yeah, I do want 20% off. Who wouldn't? And once they engage with the pop-up, they're going to be more likely to continue. Versus if the pop-up just comes up in their face, they're going to be looking for the X button to close it as soon as possible. These 5 simple things will get you 90% of the way there. And I've also included a bunch of swipe files for pop-ups in the description below. As I showed you with Nike earlier, your welcome flow should showcase everything important that your customers need to know about your brand. So let's dive into a tactical way that you can implement this with an email by email breakdown in your welcome series. With email 1, the #1 most important email in your welcome flow, you want to keep it super short, simple, simple and to the point. Give them the offer and that's it. You really don't want to distract the customer from making that first purchase while buying intent is so high. So go ahead and just keep the email short like this one. Include a welcome to the brand header at the top. Make the discount code very apparent and obvious so the customer can go ahead and shop. You might want to talk a little bit about the brand in the body copy, and maybe you can give them some products at the bottom so they can go ahead and get started. So it's really easy for them. Here's a few examples of great emails number 1 for your welcome series. So for email 2, we like to do a why switch to us email. Here is where we're going to explain why our products and our way of doing things is going to be better than what everyone else is doing. So for example, like one of our clients, Collars & Co., one of Mark Cuban's brands from Shark Tank, they've created this polo, which has revolutionized the way men wear polos today. It's not going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to have a floppy collar, or it's not going to look like something that you can only wear around the house. Their new version has a firm collar, is super comfortable and very versatile, so you can wear it from work or wherever else you're going. That's what their email 2 might be like, why their product is different and why it stands out amongst other polos. Next is going to be email 3. That's going to be what's inside and why it actually works. So continuing with the Collars & Co. theme, in this email we might break down why their polos are actually so great. So number 1, we can do this with infographics, as it's super easy to digest and just a great way to showcase the benefits. So for example, we might talk about their patent pending collar, their 4-way stretch, how the fabric is super lightweight, and how it's wrinkle resistant. So now we're actually diving deeper into the product benefits. In email number 4, we want to showcase some social proof. There's 1,000 ways to showcase social proof. Some common ones include reviews, number of reviews, your total number of customers your brand has, UGC, maybe celebrity endorsements, or even something simple like this that says 98% of people recommend this product. For our client over here, we can mention that it's one of Mark Cuban's brands from Shark Tank, or something like this where we're just showing reviews, and we can say over 400,000 men across America love this shirt. In email number 5, we want to make it very clear to the customer why our products are better, so we can even show a side-by-side comparison like this to clearly describe the benefits of our product versus competitors. Finally, we want to showcase urgency in the last email to remind them that their discount code is going to be expiring. Now let's jump into Figma and look at an example flow my team created for a brand that you probably know. Here's a sample welcome flow that we made for Athletic Greens, and we'll start off with email 1. The purpose of email 1 is to be short, sweet, and to the point. Give them the offer, welcome them to the brand, and let them be on with making their purchase. And here is just the entire design. Very simple, including some social proof at the top, some quick body texts showcasing the actual product, some of the benefits just really quickly giving them off, and once again making sure that they can go ahead and place their first order. So now we're moving on to email number 2. It's about why our customers love us, and over here I'm going to include some social proof, but we're also going to showcase why customers choose our product instead of, let's say, a competitor. So for AG1, some of those reasons are that it replaces so many supplements, it's got so many vitamins and minerals all in one scoop, and obviously you can read throughout the rest of the email. And normally we might showcase more products in this email, but because Athletic Greens is primarily focused on one product, we're just showing one here. Now we're moving on to email number 3, where we're showing why the product works by primarily showcasing some features and benefits. Like I mentioned before, one of the best ways to do this is with an infographic. So at the top of the email, we're going to showcase the actual product, how to use it, and showcase the benefits that you'd get by using it very simply here. Also going to mention the welcome discount over here so people can go ahead and make their first purchase. And honestly, another thing I'd change just by looking at this email is just to include the welcome discount at the top here, and also including a button so people can go ahead and shop very easily. But besides that, there's the email, once again keeping it short and sweet and just showcasing the benefits very easily for the customer. Now we're moving on to welcome email number 4, where we're showcasing some social proof. So here's just an example of what Athletic Greens could do for their welcome email number 4. We have a bunch of images of people using the products, and it just reinforces the lifestyle that the brand is selling. Some body text and some reviews. Obviously we could have done better reviews here, but it's just to illustrate the point of showcasing social proof in the email and making sure that it's easy to digest so people can go ahead and actually feel comfortable about the product. So now we're moving on to email number 5, where we're showcasing what makes us different. And what better way to do that than a classic us versus them example? It's very easy for the customer to actually understand what makes AG1 better than other supplements, and then some short body text over here. Finally, we got email number 6, and that's just going to be a quick reminder email for any customer to go ahead and purchase the product with the welcome discount, as we need to make it expire and showcase some urgency. A quick countdown timer never hurts. Always better to include it if it's on brand for you, and just reinforcing the benefits. Once again, the discount code for the customers to go ahead and shop. So that is what the welcome flow framework looks like for an actual brand. Obviously, your brand brand might not be the exact same. You might have multiple products versus one hero product. So you tailor it accordingly, but that's just going to get you 90% of the way there for crafting your brand new welcome series. That should convert around 6 to 12% of your new signups into first-time customers. Now that you have your welcome flow strategy and design, let's jump into Klaviyo and show you how to get this set up. We're going to go down over here to flows. Want to click create flow, and then I'm just going to search up welcome, and we can just go with the simple one over here, welcome series standard. I would always name it just GP welcome series. And now for the trigger of the welcome series, you want to make sure you're selecting the same list that's connected to your pop-up. So I'll show you a quick example on screen now. You want to go over to your pop-up in Klaviyo, and then you see the list at the bottom here, and you want to select that for your welcome series trigger. So for the sake of this example, in my dummy account, I'm going to go under newsletter, and the first thing I'm going to do is just come over here. So now that I'm in the flow, the first thing I'm going to do is add more emails because we want at least a 6 email welcome series, adding email 4, 5, and 6. So now that we have the SMS messages in here, let's go and add the time delays for each. So the time delays are already there for those emails. Now I got to add them over here, and we want to change the times in between each welcome email. So the time delays work kind of like this. You have the first email sending immediately. The first SMS, if they're subscribed, will go out relatively quickly within 1 or 2 minutes. The second email goes out after a day. The subsequent emails after that, 3, 4, 5, 6, would be every other day. So for basically the first 2 weeks, customers will be getting an email every other day. Now, there's a few other things that we need to change in the actual setup to make sure that everything is firing correctly. First thing we're going to look at is making sure this thing over here is going to be turned off. It's called skip recently emailed profiles. So let's just say I sign up for your newsletter, and after I sign up, I get the welcome email. Welcome email is great. I want to click through to the website and I want to go and shop a product, but then I'm kind of hesitating. So I leave it in my cart and then I abandon it. That is a perfect opportunity for that customer to receive an abandoned cart flow, but they won't receive it if this setting is toggled on. So you want to make sure it's turned off. Now that that's done, we need to look at the actual trigger filters to make sure that only the correct people are entering this flow. The next thing that we want to do is add a profile filter to make sure that if anyone is purchased during this flow, to kick them out of the flow, because we definitely don't want to be sending them emails being like, hey, use 10% off to make your first purchase. That doesn't really make sense after they place an order. So we're going to set up a filter to prevent that from happening. And it's going to be like this: place order 0 times, and then since starting this flow. Or if you wanted to make sure that none of your existing customers came back and entered the welcome flow to get the discount again, you can do over all time. We're going to stick with since starting this flow for now, and then click save. So that's just about it. That's how you set it up in Klaviyo. And then you just set up the actual emails within these, add the subject lines, and you know the rest. An important thing to note is that these 6 emails are just a framework, and you can change them slightly depending on what your brand needs. The ultimate goal at the end of the day is to get the customers to know everything that's important about your brand to get them to feel comfortable about making that first purchase. So here's some other topics that I love to include in a welcome series. We'll throw them up on screen now. You can take a screenshot so you can save them for later. For example, if your brand is big on TikTok, then you might want to showcase more UGC and maybe talk about your virality on TikTok in your welcome series. If your brand takes pride in having really high quality products, then you might want to showcase the behind the scenes footage of how you guys create them inside the actual emails as well. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video and you want to fast track how well you improve your welcome series, I recommend you go ahead and claim my free guide in the description below. That will give you an insane amount of detail that I can't fit into this video on how to improve your brand's welcome flow. It also includes a few bonuses like a 100 welcome email swipe file, welcome email templates in Figma that your brand can use right away, and finally, a custom ChatGPT built by my team and I that will write your brand's email flows in literally seconds with all the information provided in this video. If that sounds good to you and you're serious about improving your welcome series, it's free. Go ahead and claim it in the description below. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one. Okay, so now that you have your welcome flow created and set up in Klaviyo, now we need to actually look at what success looks like. So let's dive into some of the metrics and see what your brand should be shooting for. So your open rate on email number 1 should be at least 50%, and that's going to be a good indicator if you have good deliverability, and at least 40 to 35% open rates in the ensuing emails. One of the main metrics that we want to look at is a conversion rate on email number 1, and you want it to be at least 5 to 6%. Oftentimes we see welcome emails with even a 7 or 8 or 9% conversion rate, which is an excellent percentage of email signups converting into first-time purchasers. We want the combined conversion rate across all emails in the flow, oftentimes between 8 and 12%. So for example, your welcome email number 1 might be a 5% conversion rate, then email number 2 may be 1%, then email number 3 may be 0.7, and then ensuing emails would be around 0.3, 0.2, and stack up to around 8 to 10%. And if you aren't currently getting those stats from your welcome series, now we need to start split testing. So one of the best split tests that you can do to improve your welcome series performance is going to be a pop-up split test. So maybe your brand is offering 10% off right now on your website and it's converting decently well in your welcome series. But now you wanted to split test $10 off in your welcome series, and that might convert a little bit better. We're not only looking at the conversion rates of getting people into the email list, aka the pop-up conversion rate, we're also looking at the conversion of those new signups from that offer into first-time purchasers. So you might want to set up a split test on your pop-ups to test a different offer and see how that converts in your welcome series. Some of the main offers I like to test are obviously the percentage discount, the offer discount, some sort of free product, maybe a free trial. Now that you split tested the pop-ups and actually found what offer resonates the most with your audience, I would start split testing some subject lines. This is something that you can do from the beginning. It's so easy to do. And if it gets you maybe 3, 4, 5% higher open rates on your emails, and it takes maybe a minute of your time, it's definitely worth it. So I'd go into your welcome series and set up split tests for your subject lines to make sure that you're getting the most amount of people actually opening these emails. And the next split test that you might want to try is different topics for your welcome series. Let me give you an example. Let's say we have an email in your welcome flow that says us versus them. If this email doesn't have a good conversion rate, we can maybe swap that out for a maybe UGC focused email where we're showcasing the brand's virality on TikTok if the brand has garnered that type of attention. So that email might look something like this. And now once all that's done, we can get into more of the advanced strategies that most brands miss out on. One of my favorite advanced strategies that you can go ahead and implement is preference collection on your pop-up to give people a personalized welcome flow based on what they are actually looking for. A great example of this is this brand Aerie, where you can see their pop-up has different needs their customer might have. And then once you sign up, you have a personalized welcome flow for that specific need. So here's an example of me signing up. I clicked hair loss and look at this welcome email that I got, basically showing me before and after results for using the product for hair loss. This is what I deem as an A+ welcome series. And if you're in one of the categories like supplements or even maybe furniture, you can probably pull this off for your brand. Another more advanced strategy that you can implement is a tool like Black Crow AI. And all this really does is basically use AI to determine when customers are going to sign up for your email newsletter, so you can strategically optimize when you're showing them that pop-up. So for brands with this setup, often will have a different welcome flow in their Klaviyo account dedicated for this specific pop-up, and it will generate you extra revenue. So this is mostly for brands that do over 5 million a year in sales. If you're under that, don't worry. The other steps here will get you 90% of the way there. And the last thing you definitely want to make sure that you're incorporating that a lot of brands tend to miss out on is SMS in your welcome flow. I'd recommend including 2 welcome SMS messages, one when someone actually signs up and another one reminding them about their discount in a few days from then. Simply adding SMS like this can add to extra hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in revenue, depending on your brand's size, that take no more than 5 minutes to set up. And if you can do all that correctly, you can generate some results like these for some of our active clients. So now it's time for you to go ahead and create your brand's new welcome flow. So to make it easier for you, here's a summary of everything I mentioned in a quick 10-step process that you can follow. Number 1, you got to strengthen your brand's offer. I'd always start off with a percentage off incentive or dollar off incentive to begin with. Number 2, you want to fix your pop-up strategy. A great pop-up should have a strong offer, minimal input fields. It should show 6 to 10 seconds after page load. The design and visual hierarchy should be simple. It should have your logo, the offer in a headline, some short subheader text, the email input fields, and a button. And finally, it should have a micro commitment like this one. Number 3, you want to send your welcome email immediately after someone signs up. Number 4, you want to follow the 6 email framework that I gave for a welcome series earlier in this video, and you can sub in any of these topics that I'll throw up on screen based on what makes sense for your brand. Number 5, you want to use the proper filters and targeting in your welcome series. This includes the profile filter that says place order 0 times since starting this flow, and smart sending, making sure this is turned off in each of your emails. Number 6, you want to test offers before anything else, then subject lines, and then content. Number 7, you want to track the right metrics. Here are the main metrics that you want to track. The rest of the emails should have a 40% plus open rate, and your total welcome flow should have a 6 to 12% conversion rate. 8, you want to include at least 1 SMS in your welcome flow. I like to include 2. Number 9, you want to make sure double opt-in is turned off. This is going to maximize your throughput for the number of people entering your welcome series. And number 10, please make sure to include more than just 1 to 2 emails. Your welcome flow will be best served if you include at least 5 to 7 emails in the flow. And if you're serious about improving your brand's welcome flow and want to fast track that process, I recommend you check out my free guide below in the description that gives an insane amount of detail how to perfect your welcome flow, as well as some bonuses like a 100 email swipe file full of a bunch of welcome emails, welcome flow templates that you can use directly in Figma for your brand, and a custom ChatGPT that will write your brand's entire welcome flow in seconds based on the info that I provided in this video already. If you want to check out that guide with all the free bonuses, go ahead and claim it for free in the description below. Now, if you remember at the start of this video, I mentioned that your welcome flow should make up at least 5 to 10% of your brand's total monthly revenue. And the next natural step is to perfect all of the other flows in your Klaviyo account to automate at least 10 to 25% of your brand's total monthly revenue without lifting a finger. So click here to check out my next video to learn how to create every single email email flow your brand will ever need to maximize your revenue with email and SMS marketing. Having these in place is a complete no-brainer and has generated our brands up to 25% of their total revenue from email automations alone. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to get it set up, click the link over here and we'll see you in the next video.